This is Dr. Ritula Thakur, who we spoke actually many weeks ago. And I located her from some of the work that's been published for hers on YouTube. And I thought, wow, we need to get Ritula to this event. So she's got a BE degree in electrical engineering with honors, a master's in power systems, and a PhD from Punjab University. So she's working as an associate professor at the National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research. She's also worked as a visiting scholar in Richard Russell Research Laboratory, Athens, USA. Her research interests are in the areas of AI in power systems, microgrid and smart grid, embedded systems and microcontrollers, electrical engineering and IT in agriculture, as well as quality analysis and detection technology in food sensors, materials and instrumentation, power systems and power quality. I read it all in full, Ritula, all the incredible things that you do. So we're definitely in the right place. I'm going to keep letting people in. If you would like to unmute yourself, I'm going to put it onto speaker view now and attempt to pin you. There we go. In fact, I need to spotlight you because that pin's just for me. There we go. Try again. So we'll have half an hour with you, including our questions, if that's all right. The stage is very much yours. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Richard, for introducing me. And hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here with all of you. And as Richard has already introduced me, so I'm Dr. Ritula Thakur, working as Associate Professor in NITTR. It's a research organization under Ministry of Education in India. And we are mainly into training of the teachers, technical teachers. And apart from that, we also conduct research. And my main area of research is smart grid. And I'm the opening batsman here. I can say that, like, I'm going to pave the way for the rest of the speakers. I'm going to mainly introduce you to the concept of what is the need of big data analytics in smart grid. So in my today's talk, I'm mainly going to cover the basics of smart grid. How is it different from the conventional grid? And what are the challenges which our present power system is facing, which lead to the necessity of smart grid? And when we come to the smart grid, then we know huge amount of data is being generated, how it is being generated, leading to the necessity of analysis of the big data. Then we will also see that what are the various features or what are the various characteristics of big data. And if time permits, because Richard has already given me only 20 minutes, so if time permits, I will also try to cover one case study or one area wherein we can apply the big data analytics in the area of smart grid. So Richard, if you permit me, can I start?
Very much so. And you've got
Sure.
all controls, I believe, as well, to do whatever you want with the Zoom.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to share my screen now. I hope you're able to see it. Can you see my presentation?
We can indeed.
Okay. As I said, these are topics which I'm going to cover today. Firstly, I'll be talking about the challenges which our today's power system is facing. And then we'll come to the definition of smart grid, the various differences between the conventional grid and the smart grid. And then when we talk about the big data, what are the sources and the various characteristics of big data? And finally, one potential application of big data analytics in smart grid. Now, before moving further, let us firstly understand what are the challenges which our present power system is facing. Now, we know that our conventional grid, in it, all the generating stations, they were centrally located, and it was mainly a one-way flow of the energy from the generation to the consumers. It is very, very well known to us. Now, as we are shifting, there is a gradual shift from the conventional grid to the smart grid. The present evolving electricity grid, we can say, it is facing with lots of problems. Let us see them one by one. One is the integration of the renewable energy sources into the main grid. Now, according to an estimate, by the year 2040, about 2,300 gigawatts of renewable energy sources will be added into the main grid. Now, our grid, our conventional grid is not ready for such huge amount of we can say low inertia asynchronous generation. So that is one of the problem. And also these energy sources are located far away from the load centers, which again involve a lot of transmission line, which lead to the instability problems. Then conventional energy sources, they are getting retired. Again, according to one of the study, by the year 2030, about 750 gigawatt of coal-fired power stations, they are getting retired, which will again lead to a huge burden on the already burdened present power system. And of course, introduction of power electronic converters in the grid leads to the lot of power quality problems. When we talk of smart grid, when we talk of microgrid, we talk of FACTS converters, HVDC, we know that these power converters, they are an indispensable part of this. And these, of course, lead to the power quality deterioration, which again, we are facing a challenge. And finally, we know that there is an increase in the global demand of electricity. And I was reading somewhere that by the year 2040, there is going to be 78% increase in the demand of the power. So should I worry about it? Yes, definitely I should. Why? Let us see. Now, because of all these challenges, we can say that our present power system is literally struggling between a balance between the generation and the consumption. And the recent shutdown of the power, we can say that blackout which happened in Texas in February 2021, it's one of the example for that. So it's all leading to the blackouts. And since I'm in India, I'm going to quote this example that on 31st July in 2012, India faced the biggest blackout in its history. About 700 million people from 22 states were without electricity for 2 days. So all these challenges, and this kind of situation is not only our country, it's there worldwide. As I gave the example of Texas, and then in 2003, US also faced such. So this kind of situation, it could be avoided if our grid was smart. So that is where the necessity for smart grid comes into picture. Now let us see what is smart grid. According to National Institute of Standards and Technology, USA, the smart grid is defined as a modernized grid that enables bidirectional flow of energy, and it uses two-way communication and control capabilities that will lead to an array of new functionalities and applications. So what is it which makes the grid smart? It's the digital technology that allows for two-way communication between the utility and its customers, and the sensors along the transmission lines is what makes the grid smart. So we can say that, as I said, that in our conventional electricity grid, there was a one-way flow of energy. So apart from that, being a two-way flow of energy, there's also a two-way communication between the utility and the customers. And there are lots and lots of sensors which are there along the transmission line as well as at the premises of the customer, which make this grid smart. Now, when we say it's smart, let's take an example. We say a person is very smart. What do you mean by that? You don't have to give much inputs to that person. Okay, you tell him someday, okay, this is the task, and he is able to take decision on his own. So that is the same with the smart grid. So what is a smart grid? In which, I mean, there is artificial intelligence involved in it. There's a two-way communication involved. There's two-way flow of energy involved. There are lots of sensors which are involved, which make the whole power grid as smart. Now, we can see this picture. So there are conventional power plants, thermal power plants, our hydro power plants. And apart from that, we have our renewable energy such as wind, solar. And there, in this side, we have the load. Apart from that, we have the electric vehicles. So these are the various components of a smart grid. Now, what about infrastructure? So infrastructure of a smart grid, we can say that it's an amalgamation of the information technology infrastructure with the conventional electrical infrastructure. So when we have an integrated system of the electrical infrastructure with the information technology, that is a solution to the complex set of challenges which we just discussed in the previous slides. Now, let us see the broad differences between the conventional grid and the smart grid. So as we can see here that in our conventional grid, the power stations, they were centrally located, and the power was transmitted mainly through these transformers and these transmission lines to the loads in one-way there was a one-way flow of energy. However, with the introduction of renewable energy sources like wind, solar, which are not only along the transmission line, but also they are located at the premises of the customers. So they are not only supplying power to the grid, to the grid, they are also satisfying the local needs of the customers. So that is one of the difference, that now there is a two-way flow of energy between the utility and the customers. Apart from that, we also have lots of smart meters at the premises of the customers, and also there are a lot of sensors along the transmission lines. There are PMUs, phasor measurement units, etc., which are continuously generating, they're continuously communicating, we can say, with is a central control station. So again, this communication is two-way. So the customers, they are also giving information. Apart from that, their control station also, it is giving the information back. So what is the result of all this? The result is that there is a massive amount of data which is being generated. And that is what we call as big data. Now, what is this big data? How is this term big data? Where was it coined from? Now, big data is a huge amount of data which our conventional computational tools, we can say computers, they are not able to handle them. And we need special computational tools in order to handle this massive new amount of data. And that is where the need for advanced computation in the form of artificial intelligence, in the form of machine learning algorithms, in the form of deep learning algorithms, they come into picture, and they are necessary. And I'm sure after my talk, we are going to talk more about the other speakers. They are going to tell you more about how these artificial intelligence, machine learning algorithms and all, they can contribute towards this side. Okay. Now, as I'm saying that huge or massive amount of data is being generated, let us again see how is this data being generated. Now, as I said that there are a lot of smart sensors. There is a phasor measurement unit. In conventional grid, there used to be SCADA system, supervisory control and data acquisition system, which used to give the information to the central control station. But now we have wide area monitoring. There is a WAMS, we call it wide area situational awareness. So therein you have these phasor measurement or synchro phasors which are involved, which are generating the data, not only huge amount of data, but also at a much faster rate. Then also, apart from that, we have the smart meters, which come under the category of advanced metering infrastructures installed at the premises of the customers. Then also we have these wind energy data and video surveillance cameras, the webcams and IEDs, intelligence electronic devices. Then we have the health monitoring of the transformers and all the various electrical equipments. So these all were the electrical data. Apart from this electrical data, we also have data from the weather. So that is known as non-electrical data. And also the data which the consumers, they are sharing from their premises, maybe in the form of social media also. So all this data, we can say, which we are gathering from the various sources in a smart grid, in the form of social media, in the form of SCADA, PMU, smart meters, GIS, that is geographical information system, traffic updates, weather updates, smart appliances which are installed in smart homes of the consumers. So all this data is constituted and named as big data. And the analysis of this big data is very important. So before that, let us now see that what is this big data and what are the various characteristics of this big data. Of course, when we talk of the social media, there is a literally data explosion. So now if we talk about Twitter, in every 60 seconds, there are about 98,000 tweets which are happening. In Facebook, about 6,95,000 status updates which are happening. About 11 million instant messages which are happening. And in Google, about around 7 lakh Google searches in every 1 minute, mind it. And 168 million plus emails are being sent every 1 minute. And 1,820 terabytes of data is being created. And there are additional of 270 new mobile web users which are contributing. So now we are talking about yottabytes of data, 10 to the power of 24. So not gigabytes, not millibytes, not megabytes. We are talking about yottabytes of data, which is being generated every 60 seconds. So it's a kind of, data explosion which is happening. So now let us see the various characteristics of the big data. There are mainly 4 characteristics in the terms of volume. Then we have velocity, variety, and veracity. Now let us see what are these in terms of big data, in terms of smart grid. What are the sources and how much amount of data is being generated in these 4 terms. Volume, velocity, variety, and veracity. Now the first is the volume. As the name also implies, it refers to the amount of data that needs to be processed by the big data. Now, if we talk about the synchrophasors or the phasor measurement unit installed in transmission system, each PMU is generating more than 1 gigabyte of data per day. And if we talk about the smart meters, there are about 70 million smart meters which are deployed in the USA and generating 96 reads per day. So it's approximately 15, after every 15 minutes, the data is being logged. So there are about 96 reads per day, amounting to about 67 gigabytes of the data per day. And apart from that, we also have IEDs, intelligent electronic devices, DFRs, digital fault recorders, then SERs, sequence event recorders, which are also generating enormous amount of data. And of course, as I said, that apart from this electrical data, we also have some amount of non-electrical data in the form of video surveillances. And 40 zettabytes of data is being created, which was about 300 times increase from the 2005. And out of 7 billion people, around 6 billion people have cell phones. And it is estimated that 2.5 quintillion bytes of data is created every day. So this was in terms of volume. Now we talk of the velocity. Velocity is how fast the data is being generated. Again, it's a matter of importance, because if you talk of a smart meter which is collecting data every 15 minutes, a billion devices. Now we can imagine that if one smart meter which is collecting data in 15 minutes, then 1 million devices are resulting in 35.04 billion data entries, or 2,920 terabytes of data per day. And the important thing is that the frequency by which this data is collected, it is very crucial for the real-time monitoring and analysis. So this is again, these are again some of the figures in terms of the speed or the rate by which the data is being captured. The third term is the variety. Of course, it's not only the volume and velocity, it is also the variety. Variety, as the name implies, it's the diversified. We are getting data from the diversified sources. We are getting the data in the different formats. We are getting them in multi-dimensional fields. So your data is either structured in the form, you're getting the data in the form of Excel sheets. They are the structured data. Then you have the semi-structured data in the form of the Gmail, in the form of the web services data that is comes under the semi-structured. And also we have unstructured data, that is the data which you get from the images, the satellite images or the video data, etc. So all these, they are covered under unstructured data. So the structured data which is captured from the smart grid, when it is combined with the unstructured data, it should produce meaningful insights. Okay, so that is the variety. And again, these are some of the figures which talk about the variety of the data which we get. And finally, it is a veracity. That's also very important, because when veracity means the reliability and the quality of the data. You see, when we're talking about such huge amount of data being generated, then there is a lot of unrelevant data also in this. So it is about like What is the reliability and quality of the data which you are getting? So that is also very crucial in order to ensure the safe system operation and the stability. So as I said, it refers to the trust and data quality of the collected data for the big data management system, and it may consist of the missing PMU data. It may be missing electric usage data to be estimated. Again, that's another task you have, and poor quality data for customer information that needs to be combined with the grid data. And of course, it's a matter of concern because according to a study, about 1 in 3 business leaders, they do not trust the data. And poor data quality costs the US economy about $3.1 trillion in a year. And sometimes this uncertainty of the data puts the whole system in doubt. So these are the various characteristics of the data. And quickly, I'll come to the various potential applications of the big data analytics in smart grid. So what is big data analytics? It refers to extracting the meaningful information from the huge data which we receive from the various sources which we have studied and analyzing that data for various applications. Now the applications can be huge. They can be various applications in smart grid, and we'll see them broadly. They can be in the form of market operators, like price forecasting, revenue management, risk analysis, and in terms of transmission operators, it can be in the form of visualization, real-time monitoring, stability enhancement, congestion management, load side management. And if you talk of the generation, it can be helpful. The big data analytics can be helpful for generation planning, economic load dispatch, etc., like load forecasting, etc. And if we talk about the distributors, load forecasting comes there. In terms of the distribution operations, it can be planning, it can be used for the load forecasting, it can also be used for equipment health monitoring, etc. And at the end users, it can be used for demand response, which is again very important, load forecasting, real-time energy management, and customer behaviors. And now I'll quickly go through one such application in which the data analytics can be put use for the optimal individual energy use. So I'm going to show you, this is one example of a bill, we can say, or in another sense, we can say it's a home energy report, which was generated by a company called PG&E. And this is the report which they have given to the customer, or that this blue line indicates that, okay, this is the monthly report of June 20th to July 21st, 2013, that in 1 month you have consumed 4,191 units, and of similar within 6 miles, around 10 homes they were compared, similar homes, and efficient homes, they were consuming electricity of 3,030 units, and similar homes, they were consuming electricity of 5,352 units. So it's a kind of comparison they have given in their energy report. So it's a kind of background of the energy use that can help the customers to make your smart energy saving decisions. This is one of that. And also, as you can see from here, they have given a figure that you are consuming about 38% more energy than the efficient homes. Now, not only this, they are also giving the data of the past 6 months and a comparison so that the customer can see that in which month I was consuming more of the energy and accordingly plan his next energy cycle. Also, they have given some tips also that in case you can seal the leaky ducts, you will be able to save about $65 in a year. And also, if you use the motion detectors for your outdoor lights, you will be saving up to $35 per light. So how are they able to give these suggestions to the customer? It is by the data, the smart appliances or the smart meters which are sending from the customer into the utility. So by analyzing the data, they are also suggesting the customer that you can save so much of money apart from that. And also they are suggesting the customer that you should upgrade to an efficient washing machine. By that you will be able to save up to $35 per year. And also for the last 6 months, they have given the data for the home, the same kind of data for similar homes and the efficient homes in terms of electricity and gas. And by doing this, you are consuming about spending about $768 of extra energy cost. So all these insights also the customer is getting. So this is one of the example of the big data analytics in smart grid by the optimal energy in the user end side. So I've come to the end of my talk, and in my today's session, I have discussed what are the various challenges in the power system leading to the necessity of smart grid. Then we have seen what is smart grid and what is the infrastructure of a smart grid. What are the main differences between the conventional grid and the smart grid? What are the sources of the big data? What is big data? What are the characteristics of the big data? And what are the potential applications of the big data analytics in smart grid? So now I hope that the further panelists, they will be able to take my talk further and give you more insights about how artificial intelligence can be implemented in smart grid. And that's it. Over to you, Richard.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ritula. That was wonderful to hear. I paused for a second, expecting Jaisel's voice to come in. Actually.
Yeah, I think I was talking on mute, Richard. So thank you so much, Ritula. The talk was wonderful. Basically, I think people can now visualize what are the issues and challenges in, the conventional grid, and why, and we want to move on to the smart grid, basically, and the role of big data analytics behind it, be it visualizations, be it trending, or be it giving the tips to the customers to improve the customer experience as a whole. And thanks for giving that view, holistic view, wherein you can compare the conventional to the smart grid, and along with that, what it can help using big data analytics behind it, mainly the 4 V's that you highlighted. I think that is the key to this, summarizing this whole thing, Richard, into with the 4 V's is the key for everybody. I think if the slide deck is shared with everybody, I think this is an absolutely marvelous comparison that we have seen, Ritula. And I'm sure that people will be able to move on to smart energy management and smart grids using this what you have presented today. So thank you so much. Richard, I'll just see if there are any questions. Yeah, there is a question from Jitendra, Ritula. Very quickly, I'll ask, how are we using this data to build some custom applications?
Yeah. Thank you, Jitendra, for your question. In fact, the example which I just showed to you about that utility analyzing the data of a particular customer and suggesting to him what measures he should take to save energy and all, that is in fact one of the custom application itself. That is one of the example of that only.
Yeah, thank you. We have a few more minutes, I believe, for questions. Jaisal, have we got a few minutes spared?
Yes, definitely. We have a few minutes, 4 minutes to go. So if anybody has a question, they can jump in and ask the question or put on the chat and I'll pick it up. So, and Ritula, if you have any points that you want to add, anything,
actually, some of the participants, they are messaging to me directly. They want a copy of my slide presentation. So I have already shared that with Richard. So Richard, in that case, if you can share that with the participants, I have no qualms for that. You can do that.
Wonderful. I will, most definitely. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think there is one more question. When you started the presentation, were you talking about the grid in India?
That was an overall, when I'm talking about the challenges being faced by the power system, I think that's a global problem. But yes, when I gave the example of one of the blackout, that was particularly for India, in which happened in the July 2012. But if we talk of the problems which are being faced, like integration of the renewable energy and all those, they were global, not necessarily for India only.
Yeah, I think that that really helps. And are you, there's one more question. Are you running programs on cyber attack detection with AI too?
Not yet, but yes, in the future, we have planned one of the course on cybersecurity. As I said, that ours is a training institute. Most probably it will be online. So in case you are interested, I can share the address of my website. I don't exactly remember the dates. It's most probably in the month of December. So there is one program on cyber security, real-time simulation of cyber security. Yes, there is one.
Yeah, I hope
In
that.
case you are interested, then I can share my email ID, or you can have it from Richard. Richard also. You can email me and ask about that training program. I would be happy to tell you more about that.
That's really appreciated, I think, Ritula. There's one more question from Errol, and I'll just get to it. 1 minute. I think my computer is just playing up with me.
I think there are some questions which I can also read.
Yeah.
I'll do.
So yeah. So if you could take up on the chat as well, we are
I'll do
happy
that.
to
I'll
do
do that.
that. So Richard, being mindful of the time, there's 1 minute to go for Narika to start.
Let's let Dr. Ritula just do a quick clean sweep.
Yeah.
There's about 3 questions. Is that all right? About 3 questions, Ritula, if you can moderate those very quickly.
One question is how widely deployed are the techniques overview today? Yes, that's a very good question and very valid also. But because all these concepts of smart grid and all, they are still in the making. I mean, they are not actually. We can say that smart grid has been implemented fully. But yeah, in terms of like advanced metering infrastructure, smart meters, etc. Then when we talk of the PMU, then they are slowly they are being implemented into the system, but not very widely. They are still in the research area. Then there is one question: are you working only on US data, or is it for India data also? About the India data, in case you want to know about it, then there is one case filed by POSOCO India, but the data which we have is mainly of US, because we were working in collaboration with IBM, and they were mainly working with US data only.
Okay.
And I think I can quickly take up one more question in case you permit me. Are there any limitations of smart grids to consider? Yes, definitely. Cyber attacks, as somebody asked me, that is one of the limitation which we have to take into account. And of course, handling with this huge amount of data, that is another huge task before our engineers, which they are facing.
I think thank you so much, Ritula. It has been great, and you have covered almost all the questions as well. You have got great comments onto the chat, and you can carry on with the chat if you have the time. I would now, Richard, like to invite Narika to take forward the panel discussion, if you're all right.